Good afternoon. How are you? It's chilly, 40s, a little nip in the air. The sun's out, and it's kind of pleasant. And we're in that in-between stage when we don't know in terms of government what's going to happen next. I mean, we know the signposts. Of course, we have the Georgia signposts for the Senate and what's going to happen on the Senate side. And similarly, we are watching how close whomever will come out of the House side in terms of leadership. But the interesting questions remain. Will McConnell stay put, or will he give up the ghost and say, that's it, I'm not doing this anymore? And then on the House side, we have the rabble wanting to challenge McCarthy, no prize himself. If I were advising them as dispassionately as I could, I'd say stand pat, because to go in either direction now would put you in the throw you in the briar patch, I think. But you know, the extreme members of the Republicans in the House and the Senate will never follow that kind of advice. I think they'll do the kinds of bitter things they do. The casualties in this case, and Biden picked out one today, and it is that the notion of a Bill of Rights for women, or if you will, a Roe v. Wade piece of legislation that grants rights to women having to do with abortions and the right to privacy and so forth, it's unlikely to pass, given that the House is going to be very close, and it may only take a few votes to derail any decent legislation. And the Senate still has the problem of the cloture vote, and unless the Democrats decide to vote against it and clear the way so the majority would rule instead of 60-vote margin, then there could be some changes. In Pennsylvania, I guess Mastriano has conceded that he's not going to be governor. Good for him. In terms of health and safety, we have to be concerned because apparently RSV, which is a combination that affects our ability to breathe and so forth, COVID and flu are all going to do their mischief together and in schools unless precautions are taken. Some schools are going to close. That's the prediction. In the good news category, I enjoy hearing about Ukraine, and I enjoy the fact that Zelensky went to Kherson, and he's predicting the war will end, and that would be a great result. It's possible. You know, will the problems at home and abroad and with his allies convince Putin to back down? Not easy for any proudful man, much less a maniac, but it's possible. We'll see. And then those of you who have been getting the fifth shot and so forth, apparently Moderna and its Omicron version may provide more safety to people than the earlier COVID immunization. So keep that in mind. If you haven't done it, do it, because the medical results are that it helps. What are we to do as citizens? Well, we're reduced in our function to contributing as we can or may in the Georgia race, and I'm hopeful that we're going to pull that out and at least have a margin of one to guard us against either Manchin or Sinema teaming up. Some say maybe the vice president won't want to be president for all those tie votes. Well, there aren't so many tie votes, so I think that's nonsense. I don't think that's anything to worry about. The plan going forward is the thing I focus on and have the most, because I think that this shallow victory in the Senate and perhaps shallow loss in the House portends that the fight is still on. And I'm a little distressed that the January 6th committee would think of withholding information about some material that may or may not, according to some, help Trump. That's not the nature of an inquiry. And to say that sometimes is because unimaginative people look at evidence and don't see its significance, or don't understand there can be circles around circles in a conspiracy doing things. So before someone rushes to judgment to suppress evidence, we should have it available so we can analyze it and decide for ourselves what it means. The most important thing, though, about the January 6th committee is that they direct there be a prosecution for the greatest crimes in American history by Trump and all his associates. And this seems to be a thing in which they tell us, the apologists for the Justice Department come on, they tell us 100 ways why it's going to go forward, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. Nothing happens. Nothing happens because it's a game. They, that is Garland and his associates, they don't want to do anything. And they're going to misread the tea leaves if they think that what happened in the election, since it wasn't a red wave, is an all-clear sign that they don't have to do anything about Trump. Talk about cowards. Talk about people betraying their oath. Talk about the kind of facile leadership that the nation can't afford right now. So that's my view. I'm discouraged about how we're going to go forward. And I'll tell you this, if I were told tomorrow that, or today, days still relatively young, if I were told today that Garland has decided he's going to go forward with an indictment, well, he's not going to say that. The most he'll say is he's going to say we're going to investigate. And say, I'm not afraid of anyone, no fear or favor, we'll go against the bad guys. Well, get up off your couch and let somebody else really do your job, because you're not. You are a waste of our time, and you're risking our democracy. And we've got this time, we got this second lease on life to save the democracy, and are you going to play your fiddle through it and not do anything? Perhaps. And I'm tired of former Justice Department employees who keep telling me, oh yeah, the indictment's coming. Bullshit. When I see the indictment, when this guy stands in the dock, when they set his bail requirements, then I might think that something's going to happen. But there's so many ways to, protect the powerful, if that's what you want to do. So many ways to blow an investigation, if that's what you want to do. So that's my thinking for today, out here in the chilly cathedral of trees. And I'll talk to you tomorrow when it'll probably be even colder. Bye-bye.